Hi, we're Kim and Del Hogg, and this is the Paddock, a wee plot of land that we bought in 2023 to be the future home of our dream tiny house. Now, technically, is that future, and our tiny house just recently landed here in the far north of Scotland. But instead of starting this story here and now, we're trusting in the immortal words of Fräulein Maria and starting at the very beginning, because it's a very good place to start. We've already told you all about us, how we met, and our journey to swapping nomad life for a tiny house in the Scottish Highlands. We've introduced you to Sam and Maggie at Echo Living, who we found to build our unique small home, and shared the plot hunting and design brief processes. Now it's time to take a deep dive into the first plans that award-winning and George Clark approved architect, designer, builder and all-round micro-home wizard Sam Booth came up with for our tiny house. It's quite hard to express how overwhelming it felt to see these designs for the first time. To start from scratch and design our own home, our first home, including as much as possible of what we loved about all the different places we've spent time in over the years, was just such an exciting prospect. So, drum roll, please. Way, here it is. Now, just to recap on the overall scenario here. The plan was to apply for planning permission for our tiny house as a residential dwelling, and as such, it could technically be much bigger than this. But we didn't want a big house. We wanted a tiny house. So, as is the norm with each of Echo's unique small builds, our home would be built to fall under the definition of a mobile home, thus avoiding the expense and restrictions of building regulations and warrants, instead meeting and exceeding building standard BS 3632 2023, which is the building specification for residential park homes. It would be built in one finished piece in Echo's workshop in Dumfries and Galloway, and delivered via crane and truck to the Paddock, our wee plot at the complete opposite end of Scotland. Taking all of this into consideration, the max dimensions of our tiny house were set to about 10.7 metres long by 3 metres wide by absolutely no more than 3.05 metres high internally. Okay, now you've got the overview, let's dissect these plans. First up, here is the exterior view of the house, which we envisaged with black corrugated metal cladding. The shape of the roofline was a total surprise for us. We had figured it would be more of a traditional pitched roof, but this is far more interesting and functional, enabling us to fit a mezzanine office and attic storage area into the highest point. There are lots of big, full-height picture windows, which are the easiest way to make a small space feel bigger, as well as connecting you to the outdoors. On the south-facing side, this first version of Sam's design has a big window in the bedroom, a Velux in the office, a big window in the kitchen area, and sliding patio windows in the living room. But we'd seen a larger version of these sliders in the Longshed house that Echo were building when we first visited their workshop in June 2023, and preferred an option like that. Switching to a 3-pane slider would completely open up the view from the living kitchen area, and enable us to fully open 2 widths of the windows, instead of just one, as is the case in this initial design. The plan is to have a deck here, and with the sliders open, we'll be able to seamlessly extend our living space in the warmer months. So we asked Sam if we could change this, and he said as long as they could make it work structurally, then it's fine. On the opposite side of the house, we have the main door, the kitchen window with open shelving running across it, a full-height bathroom window, and another Velux window in the office space. Hold the bus. A full-height bathroom window? Are you serious? I've never been so excited for a pane of glass. Sam has basically designed us an outdoor shower, but inside, with this window being one wall of the shower. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that a bit exhibitionist of you? But firstly, there's only sheep out there, and secondly, the window will have a blind fitted between the panes of glass, allowing you to close it if you want privacy. Absolute genius. Right, let's move round to the end bits of the house. Facing west, we have the living room area with a big picture window and a log burner, and facing east is our bedroom, where we have a door positioned with a sightline all the way to the other end of the house and a narrow slot window to look out from bed. Very cute. We were happy with the plans for the bedroom, but the position and size of the living room window didn't feel right to us, as we wanted to maximise the view of the trees and lovely lichen-covered dry stain dike out here. So we asked for this window to be centred and made as big as possible. The position of the stove is also not quite right here, as Sam has placed it in the corner in the other drawings, which we can take a look at now. So here is the floor plan. The layout is more or less exactly what we'd asked for, with an open plan living and kitchen area taking up the western half of the house, our bedroom at the eastern end, and the bathroom in between, with a corridor linking the spaces. A surprise addition was the wee lobby entrance area at the main door, and although you can't tell from this drawing, Sam also managed to fit in a mezzanine office and lots of storage above the bathroom and bedroom wardrobe areas. We'll get to that in a bit, but first, let's walk through this design. So, coming in the main door, there is a dedicated space for hanging coats and kicking off your shoes, and this is also where the electrical distribution board is housed. A sliding door separates this from the rest of the house, which is good for heat retention and also for hiding any messy boots or clothing, etc. Sliding doors are so much more practical in a small space compared to a regular door, and they're used for each of the 3 internal doors in our house. The only traditional opening doors are our external ones. In Scotland, the norm is very much to have your door open inwards into your house. But in Korea, where we lived for 3 years, and in many other countries too, it's normal for doors to open outwards, and this is a much better use of space, so we requested this. Another habit we picked up in Korea is never wearing your shoes in the house, so it's great to have a specific shoe storage area included by the main door. Passing through the sliding lobby door, we enter the open plan living and kitchen area. Straight ahead are those big windows which will open onto a deck, and looking right, there's a big picture window framing trees and farming fields. There's a small log burner in the corner, and our plan was to put a sofa bed along this northern wall so we can have people stay over. A breakfast bar big enough to seat 4 people divides the living room and kitchen. There's just something I really enjoy about a breakfast bar, and the casualness of perching on a tall stool. And Del always gravitates towards the kitchen to set up his wee laptop station wherever we're staying. So this will double up as our dining table and also Del's workspace. Having a good-sized kitchen with plenty of storage space and full-sized appliances was a must for us, and this L shape works really well. A big window at the sink area expands the space and lets in lots of light. As requested, a 1.5 sized sink is factored into the design, which I find way more practical than a single sink, along with a 3 to 4 burner hob. I have a massive crush on pull-out pantries, so we have a narrow but tall one tucked in next to a full-height integrated fridge freezer. A small oven, which we could get with a combined microwave function, fits under the hob. We rarely use a dishwasher, so we chose not to include one in our tiny house. Open shelving runs across the window and above the hob, perfect for displaying nice crockery, glasses and jars of seeds and nuts. All the uglier stuff can be stored in drawers and cupboards underneath the worktops. One thing that's missing from the design and is an absolute must for us is a washing machine. So Sam had to go back to the drawing board on that one and figure out where it could fit in. A corridor leads from the kitchen area towards the bedroom, with a sliding door into the bathroom on the left. A lot of single-level tiny house designs that I've come across position the bathroom at one end of the house, because space-wise this is the most efficient option. But we knew we wanted the living room at one end, so if we were to follow this tried and tested layout, the bathroom would have to be at the eastern end of the house, accessed via the bedroom. If it was only ever us here, that would be great, but it's not a practical layout if we have guests staying. So although our bathroom ends up smaller because we have to factor in a corridor, we feel this central position works best. It made Sam's job a bit more challenging though, as he still had to fit all the usual bathroom suspects into this compact area. We'd asked for a wet room style bathroom, And coming up with the full-size shower window is just such a great solution for maximising the functionality of the space without sacrificing natural light. Not to mention its wow factor. The design includes a sink/storage/mirror area with a toilet next to it and a half-width glass screen separating the toilet from the shower. I'd fallen in love with the shower ledge/seat in my brother's old shower and was delighted that Sam was able to include this feature in our shower space too. Roll on ease of leg shaving. We were thinking concrete sink and loads of green metro tiles in the bathroom, creating a totally different vibe to the wooden walls everywhere else in the house. Stepping back into the corridor and looking left, there's a sliding door which divides the bedroom and mezzanine office spaces from the rest of the house. This offers privacy if we've got guests, but also gives Del and I completely separate workspaces, blocking off sound and vision. The bedroom is designed to fit a king-size bed. Oh, what a luxury for us after years of cramped tents, singles and small doubles, with enough space to walk around 3 sides of the bed. This makes it easy for both of us to get in and out of bed, and for making up the bed on laundry day. Backing onto the bathroom wall is a wardrobe with sliding doors and a second storage area for us to keep all our clothes. To maximise storage, we asked Sam if Echo could build us an ottoman lifting bed, so that we can use all of that space under the bed as storage too, which is really useful for big items or stuff that you want semi-regular access to. We felt a lift-up design worked better than pull-out drawers for the bed, because there's only about 50 centimetres around each side, so it limits how deep your drawers could be. This bit here is a fold-away ladder for accessing the mezzanine office, which only really makes sense when we look at the cross-section designs. Ta-da! This is like the final piece of the design puzzle, which really helps bring the layout of the tiny house to life. This drawing is as if we're looking into the house from the front or south-facing side. Here's me in my wee dream office, just staring blankly at the desk, contemplating how amazing our tiny house is. It's a little tricky to visualise, even with this drawing, but basically Sam came up with a really clever way of fitting in this mezzanine office to a space that could only be 3.05 metres in height in order to stick within the legal definition of a mobile home. Designing the bedroom wardrobe to be only 1.4 metres high, he utilised the space left above for the office, making it just tall enough for me to stand up in. The fixed desk and foot space extends over the bathroom, utilising areas above the toilet and sink where we don't need standing height. Behind the desk, a wide shelf hangs over the bedroom space, separating the two areas while maintaining a sense of spaciousness in both. Picture plants spilling over the shelf, creating a living work of art and a green oasis. The Velux windows either side of the desk bring in light, ventilation, and allow me to keep an eye on the neighbouring sheep and cows. I was just so excited for this space in particular. This drawing also gives a much better conception of the storage space to be built into the tiny house. This whole area here, marked 10, is closed off storage above the bathroom and part of the kitchen, the attic, if you will. It's a decent sized space, and this is where we plan to store our backpacks, camping gear, and anything else we want to keep, but don't need access to day to day. At this stage, we weren't totally clear on how we'd get into the storage area, but we knew Sam would figure that out. Here's a cross-section from the opposite side of the house, looking south, which shows more of the bathroom layout. And finally, the cross-section drawings from the end of the house. The one on the left shows what the kitchen area will be like, with attic storage at the top, an integrated fridge freezer, which is number 18, open shelving above the worktop and various drawers under the worktop. The drawing on the right depicts the office and bedroom area, showing the ladder up to the office above the wardrobes. The final drawing we received from Sam shows our tiny house in the paddock, and wow does it look petite in the overall space. We've been so focused on bringing the tiny house itself to life that we haven't really thought about what we can do with the rest of the land. So please, if you have any ideas, let us know. I've found it pretty interesting diving back into these initial drawings 2 years down the line, knowing exactly what has stayed the same and what we ended up changing. There's one thing in particular I think is so obviously in need of changing in this first design, but at the time it never crossed my mind. I'm curious if any of you can pick it out. And I'd also love to know your general thoughts about what you would keep or change about this design. Go wild with your ideas in the comments. We hope you'll follow along as we continue to share our experience of turning this tiny house idea into reality. Next time, we'll be talking energy options and planning applications. Until then, so long, farewell, from us, the hogs in the paddock.